It's a great afternoon in this last day of the month of August 2021. Welcome to yet another broadcast with us at Home Care Business Advisors. Today, we have an interesting topic and a very critical one: scaling your business. Whenever we all start businesses, most of us, our desire, if not all of us, our desire is to grow your business so that it becomes a multi-million size business so that you can employ as many people as possible, impact as many lives as possible. And today we have the experts who are going to be telling us, how do we do this? What does it mean? What is involved? And how do we get to the promised land? I've got Chandra and Carl Gould. Carl, please, can you introduce yourselves?
Sure. Welcome, everybody. My name is Carl Gould.
And over to you, Chandra.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chandra Gould. I am a seven-stage advisor with Seven Stage Advisors. We are a growth advisory company that works globally to grow your business. We use a seven-stage method in order to grow your business over a 36-month period.
Great. And we will hear more about 7 stages as we go through the broadcast and hear more about the philosophy and the stages that they go through and how one can get to work with 7 stages. So to start with, how does one determine to say it's now high time to scale up, Carl? Because a lot of people, we start, maybe you're the only employee, you start getting another employee, 2, 3, 4 employees, a few clients. At what stage do you say it's high time I properly scale up?
Well, once you've, so there's a difference between how you grow and how you scale. And when you are growing your business, meaning you are an owner operator, you're working in the business every day, and you say to yourself, okay, I'd like to have the business grow without me having to generate all the leads or make all the sales or deliver all the orders. Then it's time to scale, because then you're putting in repeatable systems that can grow without you having to be involved in the business every day. That's the time to scale, when you want to be able to get your results without having to handle every aspect of the business.
And that's maybe, Chandra, you can come in here, because then this is where now it is that a lot of us, when we start businesses, everyone wants financial independence. They want to work according to their own schedule and so on and so forth. So the point that Carl is talking about, everyone feels like from the first day they have the first client, they don't want to be there. At what point do you now say, yes, this is what I want, but the business itself, it's ready for that?
When you have your systems in process, you've got systems in place, you've got processes in place, and you've got a team that are able to successfully complete the processes every month and get the results every month without you. So you've got a competent team with a set of processes. That's the point at which you can take a step out. Okay.
And then just maybe one other point on the financial side of things. Is there a point where one says, maybe you have so much ability to borrow, or so much capital, or so much turnover as well? Does that become a determining factor as well when it comes to scaling?
Having too much capital, you mean?
No, I'm just saying, is there a specific level of capital or working capital or turnover
level.
One is, yeah.
Well, you would want, if you are trying to grow the business, you would want a certain amount of revenue that would allow you to achieve your growth goals. So if you're a $2 million business and you want to become 10, does the capital you have allow you to get to 10 million? If you're a $10 million company and you want to go to 20, does the capital you have allow for that? As a general rule of thumb, operating that's investment capital. Operating capital, we like to see that you have at least 6 months operating capital at any given time, so you can weather a storm or any tough time, and you've covered your operating expenses for a period of time, just in case you have a few bad months.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a so you should still be ready for the rainy day.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great stuff. And then let's just talk about the components of scaling now. So, like you said, have systems in place, and so have the right people, have the right team. What then are the components organizationally, or in terms of the process of you now growing this? What pieces do you need to join together to say you are rolling out the scaling, or you can roll out the scaling?
Do you want me to answer that, Carl, or do you want to?
Yeah, Chandra, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sure. We start to develop a leadership team, a team that are responsible for different elements of the business. For example, your strategy, strategic planning, sales and marketing, people and process, and finance. So we start to look for a leadership team in those 4 areas. And at that point, once you've got leaders in those 4 areas of your business, you can start to develop and scale.
Mm-hmm. And in these 4 areas, that's actually quite an interesting one, because most of the people, when they start, you don't have those in place, or at least are not thinking about it. And these are the things that we saying you need to start thinking about, and maybe right from the word go, start thinking about, how am I putting these areas, how am I positioning myself later on to grow it? Is that a correct thing to say, Chandra?
Absolutely. So in 7-Stage Advisors, one of the things we do with our companies is we help them develop those 4 areas. So we work on their strategy, their 3-year strategic plan. We work on their sales and marketing strategy. We work on their people and process, and we work on finance. So we have we help businesses in those specific areas. And when we work with a company, we create a strategic plan, which is a 3-year plan that develops those areas over a 36-month period.
Okay, that's great. And let's talk about, in terms of some of the determining factors, or how these factors, specifically about the market conditions. For example, we currently, have been going through the pandemic. How do you assess the market conditions to decide is the right time to scale or not? And maybe, to be more direct, in general, is this a good time to actually scale with what has been happening within the health sector and so on and so forth? Carl?
This is a great time to scale. As a matter of fact, during rough economic times, your other companies that are not well built or not well run or not well managed will oftentimes become open for sale. And so during this time, your acquisition plan, growth plan, should accompany your organic growth plan. And so, now's a great time to scale up. As a matter of fact, if you can combine the revenue of a few different companies, often called a roll-up, if you roll up a few different companies into your own, the multiples in your business will increase, and you will build enterprise value. So this is a really good time to scale, and you can oftentimes get it done cheaper than in any other time.
And so, would you encourage people at this moment to actually, it's a good time to maybe buy even businesses that have been existing, maybe that are struggling, or rather to buy into a franchise kind of setup? Preferably, which one would you go for there?
Well, I would, if I had an existing business, I would look to purchase other existing businesses, and I'd roll them up. If I was looking to start from scratch, I would look at a franchise if I felt that would get me to market quicker and they already had proven out their business model. and all I had to do was buy the system, implement it. So we have done both. We've been franchise owners, we've also been independent business owners. It will, if you already have an original idea for a business and you feel you have a differentiation, then you can be an independently owned business and you don't need to franchise. If you're looking to start a business and there's already a proven concept and you say to yourself, you know, they've already figured out all the mistakes, it will be cheaper for me if I were to buy a franchise rather than start my own.
All right.
That's how you would tell. What is cheaper to market?
Wow, that's a great point. And I saw there was some comments there and a question on how one assesses how effective the scaling process is working. You know, do I have a yardstick, or are there specific points one needs to look at and say, you know, was this effective or not? This is maybe after you have started the scaling process for a bit. Chandra? Yeah, you can go ahead, Carl. It's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe Carl, you can have a go with that one.
So, okay. So when should you assess if it's working? So you go back to your strategic plan and you say, I want to bring on this many companies or this much revenue. And the yardstick, it depends on the time frames you put in the strategic plan. Now, normally you would check every year to see if your large long-range goals are working, and every quarter you would make sure that your tactical activities are in alignment with your strategic activities. So every quarter to make sure you're doing the little things right, once a year to make sure you're doing the big things right, and that'll tell you if you have been effective all along the way.
Wow, great. And then, you know, whilst we're there, maybe before we move on to talk about business credit and scaling, is there, you know, certain businesses, especially in our sector, in home care or home business, home health, that one would say, I think you shouldn't scale. I think maybe your business is not set up for it. You have to have a complete overhaul and maybe reassess how to go about it, or maybe you're in a wrong market, maybe you're in a flooded, you know, market, and so on and so forth. Chandra?
Sure. I mean, I think you're in a market that's growing. Like the population is really growing, the elderly population. So you're in a very, very big market in terms of growth, you know, in terms of need. So, you know, I think in terms of the need is growing. So it's more about, you know, can you position yourself as a company to meet the needs of people that, you know, have your service meet the needs? Can you position yourself to be attractive to your customers? And can you differentiate yourself in the market so that, you know, customers come to you for their, you know, their home, you know, their home care needs. So I think you're positioned in a great market. It's growing furiously. It's about how you can differentiate yourself and provide services to meet the needs of your ideal customer.
Okay, that's great. And then maybe let's talk about the you know, the importance of business credit in the process, your ability to borrow, and your ability to build that business credit when you're looking at scaling up, Carl.
Well, if you're so there's two kind of things there. So if you're looking to utilize business credit, most small operators don't use credit all that much. They tend to work off of cash, but small business credit is very useful, and it will allow you to grow the business, and sometimes it'll allow you to make purchases you couldn't make otherwise. For example, if you borrow a certain amount of money to buy a piece of machinery, like we have a client that's a small company, they're a tea manufacturer. They bought a tea bagging machine. They couldn't just buy that out of their savings. They had to borrow money. That tea bagging machine allowed them to automate that part of the manufacturing. Or the business financing allows you to do the build out at your retail location. So that's another thing that you can use. So whenever the purchases are larger than what your savings will allow, and you can borrow the money so you can put make the capital expenditure, then it's a good use of capital. So you use it either to get your startup and get proof of concept, or if you already have proof of concept, then it might be time to borrow money so you can make the next leap of growth.
Wow. Great points there. Now let's come to 7 stages. To your baby, your business, in terms of what are the 7 stages, and how the 7 stages work in general?
Carl, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So the 7 stages was a methodology that we created some years ago that showed us the right sequence of growth for businesses. So stages 1, 2, and 3 are growth stages, and then stages 4, 5, 6, and 7 are scale, the stages of scaling your business. And so we found that this was a blueprint for how you can grow, and when you can have a formula that shows you how to grow your business, then it's easy to follow a formula. It's easy to follow steps when you know what they are. And so we've worked with tens of thousands of businesses over the year, and the 7-stage methodology was built out of the data that we have derived from working with these tens of thousands of businesses all over the world.
And do you have a specific specialty in terms of your market or the type of businesses you work with, or is different businesses for?
Well, we have learned that by understanding different markets, we can be very innovative. And so we have gone out of our way to be industry agnostic. And what that means is we work in all industries. And once we know something that works very well in one industry, we can pick that strategy up, bring it over to another industry, and then it becomes very innovative. There was an article written about the top innovations of the 20th century, and 82% of the innovations of the 20th century came from the front lines of another sector. So we have cross-sector innovation as a skill set. And we look at one industry, we see what works there, we pick it up, we put it in another. And so the 7-stage methodology allows us to do that, where we can put growth and scale systems into any business because we understand what are the things around it that are working and not working. And we can pick that up and we can put it right in your business.
Oh, that's great. And how does one begin to work with 7 stages?
How does one, could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. How does one get to work with 7 stages? How does one reach out,
Gotcha.
That assessment process, or to become your client?
Sure. So great. So go to the number 7stageadvisors.com, and you'll see all about our methodology and our company. For all of your viewers and listeners, we have a process called the free business analysis. You can spend up to 2 hours with one of our growth advisors. You'll see the button that says business analysis. Click that and put business analysis in the contact us page, and we'll make sure that you get 2 hours with a growth analyst.
Great. Thank you so much, Carl and Chandra. As we wrap up, maybe in conclusion, what would you say to someone who says, I am tired of this smaller business, I want to just grow it? What's your takeaway? What's your giveaway at the end? Like, I want to grow. I want to make those millions. And I want to employ as many people as possible and impact so many lives. Chandra, you can go first.
Yeah, work with us to create a growth strategy, to create a 3-year plan, and have us help you execute that plan.
Wow, that's great. And Carl?
Yeah, so if your business can grow as big as your vision, If you've got a big vision for your business, then you want to grow a business as big as your vision is. If you have a small business and you're not really sure how to grow it, your vision's not big enough. So dream bigger and then go after that dream. We'll show you how to get started. But first thing you got to do is dream huge and start really thinking big and saying, what do I want my impact in the world to be? Where do I see myself 10 years from now? And if I could wave my magic wand and have it any way that I want, what would I ask for? And the answer to that question, that's the new vision for your business.
That's the new vision. I'm going to be definitely taking my magic wand and going into dreamland and try and think of what is it that is possible that I can do. And you know what, Carl and Chandra, we cannot dissect this enough. Obviously, it's a huge topic. There's a lot that can. Crystal is agreeing that she is dreaming so big, we within the Home Care Business Advisors team, we are dreaming big. And I think I've also seen a comment from Yvette saying that it's very in-depth, your analysis that you do, and that she has gone through that process with you, Chandra, as well.
Yes.
We appreciate your time. We can see you are doing big stuff. You're on the road, both of you, but you still manage to take time to engage with us, and we cannot take that for granted. Thank you so much. And for everyone else, my name is Stanford. It has been great being on the show with you, and it's bye-bye for now. See you next time. Cheers.